Hi, and welcome back to your Pixlr tutorial. We have so far covered arrange, crop, cutout, and now we are going to look at a couple of more. On the Adjust tab, we're running into the problem like, oh no, only image layers can be adjusted. Select another layer. Well, that's because, as I mentioned, the layer has to be selected. So I just wanted to show you again how important paying attention to layers are. I mean, granted, in this case, it is the only layer, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to do the work that you want to do if you're not inside of a layer. Okay, so if we go ahead and we look at this adjust one, I mean, what you're basically looking at is some basic one-touch adjustments here. I mean, we could go ahead and click on auto fix and see what happens. Look at that. It brightened it up, made me look a little handsomer, if I may say. No, I'm just messing. But look, you know, this was kind of darker, and you do auto fix. And look, it guesses what you think, what it thinks would be a good fix to it. So you could always try your luck at that first and see how that goes. And honestly, it doesn't look to me like anything else really needs going. I don't really think there's a point in me going through what every one of these sliders does. Because that's not the nature of this thing, but just to instead to show you how some of this stuff works. But just I wanted to point out, you have this black and white thing here, and you can invert the colors, which is super creepy and awesome. So, I mean, can you imagine if this is what your tech teacher, Rabbi, looked like? It'd be pretty cool. I kind of look like one of the Jotunheim, one of the frost giants from Jotunheim, if you know your Thor movies. But anyway. You know, that's basically what you have here. Now, down here, don't forget, you also have toning, which is more intricate details of the photos that you can do. You can fill the whole thing with a certain color if you want to do like an overlay to the whole color, to the whole picture. And you also have the ability to do, now curves is going to be very complicated, and I'm not going to bother explaining it, but the idea would be that you can drag this bar, and then if you knew your curves well enough and how to do all these things, you would be able to change the RGB levels, as you can see, red, green, blue levels, to your liking, and then make it, you know, whatever colors. But really, that's for super advanced users. I don't even use that. So that's basically the idea there. We're gonna just kind of go back and do a bunch of undos and go back to the beginning here. But that's basically the idea with the adjust button. So we have a little bit of time in this, so we're going to go look at filter. Now, filter is where, again, make sure you're on the correct layer. Filter is where you have these other kinds of things you can do to the photo that are kind of fun. You know, and they basically say what they do. You know, you could blur the whole photo. This is very helpful for, let's say, if you want to actually keep someone's face out of it. Like, let's say I was going to share these videos worldwide and it was a picture of my kid. You know, and I don't want people to, like, see what my kid looks like. You know, well, maybe I could just blur, I could select the head or even just the eye area, make it a separate layer, and then blur only that layer. So if we were to go ahead and do that, just as a little example, remember we would go and we would extract as a layer to go, well, you know, so we'll just work in this layer, and then we would say keep just the eyes, and then as we're working on this layer, we would go to blur and blur my, you know, blur, because that's the only part of the layer that I cut out. We could just then go ahead and blur only that part, so it's less easy to tell my identity. And the way that it's showing up above, why it's affecting the picture is because this layer is at the top. If you move this above that, now the blur is gone because this is now the primary layer. This is the order in which the layers are positioned in front of you, and that's another important thing about layers that you need to know. So yeah, I know I did give you an example of how blur worked, but again, you can take a look at what each of these, you know, you want to make it more grainy. You can smooth out, make it a little. Some photographers like to do this. I don't. It's where you smooth the features, so it's like, you know, especially if you have, I don't know, it's just a thing people like to do. I don't know if you could see the difference there as I'm doing it, but it gets a little smoother without being blurry. That's basically the idea. Clarity would make you older looking, so look at that. So clarity really sharpens up the pixels, whereas smooth really dumbs it down. And again, you know, you have this, you can vignette here, which is nice, like if you're really trying to focus in, and you could probably change, and in your vignette, you could change the size of the vignette over here. Let's say you make it 50, and now your vignette is less dominant. You make it 50. Sorry, that's where you set the amount. But then you also could go white vignette. This has uses if you want to focus in on a photo. It's it's not that bad to use it. You have fringe here, which is really psychedelic. There's just like a lot of really cool things that you can do with a simple slider inside of the filter thing. This is sort of akin to what you do on your phones where you click a one-touch button thing. Well, these are all the things, just one slider at a time. Pixelation is really cool. That, again, is really good for identity, for keeping identities, A pixelate and blur are very good. And look, mosaic will turn it into like something really freaky like that. So there really are a lot of cool different tools you can get inside of this program, and those were the tools that were found in Adjust and Filter. Effect, again, pre-made effects. These are just so let's just undo everything. So we go back to the original photo. And then if you go ahead and you look at, it's remembering everything I did back to the previous screencast. So anyway, let's unlock the layer. And if you go and you do quick filters, you do like, that would be like your Instagram filters on your phone, or different things that you can click before you send it out. Those are all right there in the effects menu. Again, they're one-touch effects that you can do. So you can also play around with that. It might save you a lot of time to do it that way. All right, that's it for this screencast. In the next one, we're going to try to finish out the rest of the tools. Have a great day.